Hi, this is Stephanie Gilbert. I'll be your instructor for Psychology 150 this semester. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and then go into a little bit of detail about online courses in general, and then finish off with telling you more specifically about Psychology 150 and how this course is going to run this semester. So first, a little bit about myself. I have an undergraduate at Penn State University in psychology with a business minor. I then went to UNCC for my master's in organizational psychology, which, if you're not familiar with it right now, you'll know about it more at the end of this semester. And then I went and worked in the financial services industry for quite a few years, including working with my local YMCA and working with the juniors and seniors in high school on a leadership program. So that's a little bit about myself. Please take some time to go into the Student Coffee House, which is inside of your Moodle site, and tell me a little bit about yourself. One of the reasons that I find this course fascinating and most exciting to participate in is that we really have folks from all different experiences that are in this class. We have people who are juniors and seniors in high school, getting early college credit. We have folks who are your traditional college students. Some are working 2-3 jobs. We have parents of children who are going back and changing some career options for themselves and getting more of a degree than they had before. We have people who are retired and they are maybe once again trying to start a whole new career for themselves or pursue some personal interest of their own. And all of these different experiences come into play in this course, and that's what makes it so exciting. So thank you all and welcome. Okay, let's talk a little bit about online courses. Now, some of you may have taken these before, and so this is going to be old hat to you. But for those of you who haven't, let's think about whether an online course really is ideal for you. Let me tell you a little bit about thinking about how do you learn. This course involves looking at a textbook, reading through it, really understanding the concepts, and then you have to figure out how do these concepts apply? How do I use them in my daily life? What do these concepts mean? Not just a definition. You're even going to be tested on that. So please make sure that you understand that. You'll need to know a little more than just the definition of the concepts. So the other thing you're going to have to do on these online courses is think about how do you like to be tested. This course in particular is strictly multiple choice questions on your exams. So how do you feel about that? For some of you, you're breathing a huge sigh of relief. You could do without the essays on the exams. Too much pressure. For others of you, multiple choice presents its own challenges for you. Sometimes you can justify all the answers. Some of the times you can justify that none of the answers work. And so just to be aware that that is part of this course. By the way, the Learning Support Services Center can help you a lot with that, with test taking. The final thing to think about on an online course is, do you procrastinate? We all do. But what are you going to do with that information? Are you going to go ahead and say, I hope it doesn't get the best of me? Or are you going to say, you know what, I realize I have to start getting organized right now, and here's how I'm going to do it. The neat thing about an online course is that a lot of it's self-paced. The downside of an online course is that a lot of it's self-paced. So what this means is I will be giving you assignment due dates and test due dates, but you can work ahead. You'll be given access to these ahead of time. It would behoove you to get ahead of your work. And the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes you'll have a test due the same time that you have homework assignments due. So I highly recommend that you find some way to get organized. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Psych 150. Because I do think that you're going to enjoy it. You're going to get a lot out of this, a lot more than many of you think you might. Okay, the first thing to talk about is something called a startup activity that you're going to see on your Moodle site, and accountability statement. This is real easy. It takes a short amount of time to go in there. We want to make sure that you have reviewed the syllabus for this course and understand it completely, so it'll ask you a few questions about it. Please, right after you watch this video, as soon as you get onto your Moodle site, go ahead and complete this activity. There's a deadline on it, and if it's not, you don't reach the deadline, the SPCC system actually kicks you out of the course. I would hate for any of you to get kicked out of the course simply because this one first assignment isn't completed. So please go ahead and get that startup activity done. The next thing to keep in mind with that startup activity is it's going to ask you to review the syllabus. There's two really, really important parts of the syllabus that I would like you to take note of. The first one is, please make sure that you understand the weighting percentages of all the assignments and tests in this course. You will notice that the exams in particular are 60% of your grade. This is a huge, huge amount. This can make or break you. So please make sure you understand that and spend the proper amount of time preparing for your exams. And we'll talk a little bit more about them later. The other thing that's on that syllabus at the very bottom is your schedule. I cannot stress enough, please print at least that schedule part of your syllabus out. Stick it on your refrigerator. Stick it in the office that you work in or the room that you work in. Whenever you can refer back to it so that you make sure you do not miss any deadlines and you're aware of those. Okay, the other thing that you're going to see is the student resources section on your Moodle site. Now, there's a lot of different resources on here. Please take the time to go through these. There are a few that I didn't think were valuable, and I took those out already. So what you're seeing are the ones that I do think are valuable. Please take a look. Some things you'll see, there's a rubric in there for your written responses, as well as that you can use pretty much for any of your papers. Very helpful, and I do use this when I'm grading. When you see that rubric, one thing I'd like to point out is that there is an emphasis on grammar and spelling, and how well your paper flows. This is not an English class, so I'm not going to be a huge stickler about it and every single time get through with a red pen and mark it out. However, if it's going to hinder my ability to read through a paper and really understand your point and not get caught up on stumbling through sentences that are run-ons for an entire paragraph of 3 sentences all connected together, then you're going to see that reflected in your grade, so please pay attention to that. Another resource I have on there is APA format. Everything in this class, you guys, has got to be APA format, so please familiarize yourself with this if you're not already. Anytime you cite something, it has to be APA format. The other thing about that is to please keep in mind that anytime you use any kind of a resource, including your textbook, it must be cited. This is of critical importance, so please make sure that you understand that APA system. And the link that we have on there kind of gives you an abridged form of APA, so it's actually a good website. If you go to some of the APA other websites that are out there, they're kind of big and overwhelming. So this is a good link for you, I think. Some other resources that you'll find for yourself, if you have not already, please make contact with the library. These guys have got resources for you. They have got a wealth of information, including when we do like a research paper, they'll help you to narrow your topic down to a very clear and concise and manageable topic. You will see email from Grant. He will put it out to our class and say, here are some resources that you should use, because we're going to talk about later on that all of your homework you have to cite outside sources. Grant is a great one to go for this. He knows all these resources. Academic Support Center. Some of you may have heard of this already. Anytime you send me notes and say, I'm really struggling with multiple choice tests, I'm really struggling with writing a clear paper, I will send you to the Academic Support Center. These guys are great. Go in there in person and meet them and say, this is where I'm struggling. They have people who specialize in psychology. They have people who specialize in test taking and study skills. They have people who specialize in stress management. Sky's the limit. Please go in there. They will actually even review your responses and your papers before you hand them in to me. And if I'm not mistaken, even if you can't get in person, because I know some of you have multiple jobs and don't have a lot of time, they're going to work with you over Gmail. So please make sure that you take advantage of that great resource. Okay, also on your paper, on your Moodle site, you will see a section about study habits. Now, there are a lot of different connections on that Moodle site. Please review them. Even if you get 1 or 2 study habits that are going to help you, that's 1 or 2 study habits. Cling on to those. If you look in your textbook, that we'll talk about in a minute, but you look under page 287, and there are study habits in there, and this is something called the SQR3. Just real quickly, what it is before you even read a chapter, survey the whole thing. Then ask yourself questions. Why would this interest me? What does this mean? What does this have to do with the chapter we just read? Then actually read the chapter. Then go back through afterwards and recite out loud, what did I learn from this chapter? It's a great, quick way to every single time you head into a new chapter to approach it. The other thing with study habits is we're going to talk about your study guide. I absolutely, highly recommend that you get the study guide. Some study guides do not link to the test. This one does. The people who wrote the study guide questions are the same people who wrote the test questions. So I highly recommend that you get that study guide and really understand. There's one section in there in particular that's called application in that study guide, and those questions are smack on with what you're going to see on the test. So please take a look at that. Let's talk about the study guide and textbook. If you have not already, absolutely right now, purchase that textbook. Get that study guide and textbook in your hand. It is Exploring Psychology, 8th edition by David G. Myers. And get the study guide also. This is really important. Okay, chapters and tests. The way that it's set up is that you will see 3 chapters, and then you're going to have a test. And then another 3 chapters, and then you're going to have a test. During those 3 chapters, you're going to see something that's called Psych Sim. They are pretty much what I would describe as interactive PowerPoint presentations. And that's a great study guide to help you really make the concepts real. I think you'll enjoy those. I think those are helpful. Then you'll see some videos that we put in there. I like to put some cartoons in there just to lighten it up and make it more interesting. Sometimes I listen to a lot of NPR. Sometimes I put some little NPR articles in there so you can listen to make you understand that what you're studying is real stuff. Okay, what I'm going to do is you'll see when you go through the course that I'm only going to open up 3 chapters at a time. Otherwise, the feedback that I've got from students is it just looks too overwhelming. So if you only see the first 3, don't get stressed out. The rest of them are there. I just haven't opened them up yet. And sometimes I'll even open up, the 4th chapter when you're on the 3rd, for those of you who want to work ahead. Okay, let's talk about the tests. The tests, like I explained, are all multiple choice. There are 100 questions in 100 minutes. I hear gasps out in the audience. That is true. It is a lot. Here's the reason it's designed that way, is though we cannot stop you from opening your textbook. With 100 questions in 100 minutes, you are not going to be able to study when you get to see the question. You're going to need to be completely familiar with the material before you even take that test. As long as you do that, you're going to be totally fine with 100 questions in 100 minutes. Okay, it will be open for 2 days, it being each test. So after the first 3 chapters, it will be a test. It will be open for 2 days in a row, starting 8 o'clock a.m. the first day and ending up around 11:50 or 11:55 the second day. You will have those 2 days, anytime during those 2 days, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter. You pick your 100 minutes. Now, as soon as you push go and start that test, you cannot stop and walk away and go do your laundry. You cannot stop and go answer the phone or answer the door. The test will stop only when you are finished with the whole thing. So in other words, that ticker is going to just keep going the whole time. So please, before you take that test, make sure you're in a quiet spot with no interruptions and you can really concentrate. Okay, the other thing I do want to point out is that your final test is on the last 3 chapters. It is also cumulative. So 50% is on the last 3 chapters and the other 50% is cumulative. So make sure you don't lose your notes when you're studying for the chapters in the beginning. Okay, let's look at the assignments then, and that's the next part. The assignments, a lot of people ask me, how long do these need to be? I will tell you, as always, it is quality, not quantity. Look at your rubric. I will also tell you that if you answer many of these questions with 2 lines, probably not going to work. Most of them are going to take you 2 paragraphs to answer at least, if not more. So you can count on that. You will see your assignments divided into usually there's an activity, which is a questionnaire, self-reflection, and there might be a form that goes with it. So I might answer some questions about myself, really kind of grade it and understand what it means, and then you may share that with your classmates or just reflect upon it yourself. That is graded because I'm not just grading did you complete the questionnaire, but I'm grading did you take the time to reflect upon that and say, I wonder what this means to me. Okay? That's the activity. The second part of your assignment often will be a written response. Now, the written response is, kind of essay answers. Once again, usually about 2 paragraphs or so. Your activities, not as much writing involved in that one usually. The written responses, they are. Now, I would like you to all pay attention because this part is really important for the written responses because this part will trip you up in the beginning because it does every semester. Please listen. You will get a C on your written responses, which is work has been completed. if you get the right answers. If it says explain this concept and you explain the concept, then you will get a C. That's 75%. That's a good job. I'm assuming most of you are aspiring to higher than a C. To get a B, I need you to use one outside resource. So outside means not just your textbook. You can use your textbook, absolutely. Make sure you cite it. I want an outside resource. Once again, Grant will send you some options for that. He has seen all of our written response questions. He knows what they are. He knows what you guys are working on. Good citations to use, outside resources to use, will not include ask.com, wikipedia.com. These are not psychological resources. I want you to use psychological resources to go pull out some information to help you answer these homework assignments. So that'll get you a B. Once again, good job. I'm aspiring to get an A. What do I need to do? I need to see you use personal examples, real life applications, opinions, things that are going to show me not only do you understand the concept and you've done some research on it, but that you can say this is how it applies to life, or this is how it applies to the chapter before, or the chapters coming up that I've skimmed through. I need to see that you understand it to apply it. So those are the written responses. I do want to explain that according to SPCC protocol, and I will tell you I'm a stickler for this, I do not accept late papers. So please do not come to me and say, I'm sorry, I was just busy last night, I had a lot of other exams. You were given these assignments ahead of time. They have a due date. Do them ahead of time if you're afraid you won't get them done. You can submit homework assignments early if you want to. You can't really adjust on the test, but you can on the homework assignments. However, I just won't grade them necessarily until the due date. Sometimes I get time and I'll do that. Okay. The other part of your syllabus or your schedule, you're going to see that you have a research or term paper. It's the same thing. I will give you more detail about that later on, but I do want to talk to you real briefly about it, just so that you know what it is, because I would like you to start thinking about it. This is a term paper. You pick the topic. It is all you. There are parameters. I need it to be psychology based. Let me give you an example. I know we probably have some criminal justice majors, and so I've gotten some papers on, for example, the death penalty. You may write on the death penalty, but you may not write about the laws that go into the death penalty and how they've changed over time. That's not psychology. I need to see either, what's the psychological impact of death row on the victims' families? What is the impact of death row on the actual inmate? What is the psychology behind the jury that's involved in making these types of decisions? So I need to see the psychology. It also must be research-based. While I do want your opinion and personal stories put into these research papers, that is only one part of it. That's, the beginning, capture your attention, or the end of the paper. These have to be research-based. The reason I'm telling you all this is that it's going to be 5 to 7 pages. You may want to start now, including you may want to think about your topic now. There, on your Moodle site, you'll see under the research paper, there's a section about narrowing down your topic. Go ahead and take a look at that. It's great. Gives you some great insight. I do want you to send me your topic before you start writing about it. Okay. Don't get overwhelmed with that research paper yet. I just want to tell you about it in case some of you are excited to jump in on that. There's also a teamwork activity. Having said that, I'm not going to tell you anything about that. Not because it's any huge intensive thing. It's because it's not hugely intensive and you can't work on it right now anyway. So put that aside. Okay. Let's just wrap up, and let me tell you a little bit about how you can contact me. You contact me using Gmail. SCCC is not okay with using Yahoo or Hotmail or anything like that anymore. You must use Gmail back and forth, and I will check it as much as I possibly can, and I will respond within 24 hours, except if it's on the weekend. I will definitely try to respond to you on the weekend, but don't count on it. So if there's something due Monday, don't ask me on Sunday and say, oh my gosh, you didn't respond. I'm going to try to be in the library between 11 and 12 on Fridays, and definitely will not start until September. But that's definitely an option too if you need to get a hold of me. On the syllabus for contact numbers, you also see Carl Bishop. He is my boss. You can contact him. My request to you would be to go ahead and contact me first. And then if there's something that we cannot resolve, please go to Carl with that. Like I said, I will be contacting you and using Gmail regularly. My suggestion to you is at least once a day, check your Gmail for me. This is an online course. This is the way we communicate. It's not like it's a regular classroom where your instructor might send you something once every 2 weeks. I'm on it regularly. You guys need to be on it regularly. Okay? In conclusion, what do we need to do to be successful in this course? Get your textbook and study guide on time. Do that startup activity. Get it done. Read through the syllabus and print out any information that you need, like in the schedule. Don't get behind. In fact, my suggestion is work ahead. Read the text very carefully and use those study guides that I talked about. Those tests are really important. If nothing else, please realize that the amount that you are going to take out of this class is highly proportional to your ability to connect it to your life, to your daily, at work or with your family. It's going to make it so that this course is real. And once you see these activities and you see the written responses, you're going to know what I'm talking about. It also makes it so you can do better on the tests because they are testing whether or not you can actually apply it. So I'm super excited about this. You will see on your Moodle site we're going to have a date set up to do a collaborate real soon, the next few days. And you can ask me questions and we'll kind of feed back and forth on these questions and clarify anything I didn't go over thoroughly in this video. And then we'll be moving forward. So thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to Psych 150 with you.